Today is the first ever episode of the new series on the AWE channel called The Action Review, where I'll be reviewing the newest episodes of Next Level, Intensity, and its pay-per-views. And today, we're kicking it off for the tournament for the Next Level title, featuring Grayson versus Jackson Palace, Ghost versus Contrassico, Nathan Slade versus Cody Cole, and Henry Mack versus Damian Kai. And today, we'll be starting off with the match, Grayson versus Jackson Palace. And with that being said, this match did seem a bit more slow to me. And I do understand that both wrestlers work at more melodic paces. Even then, they should have been attacking their opponent a bit more. But it did end up being in Grayson's favor, so I can't really complain. But it was no easy task, nor feat, because Jackson Palace hit two Rurugus on Grayson, which could have ended the match. One when Grayson was running straight at him from the other trampoline and was caught mid-air, and the other when he was standing right in front of him. And I don't understand why he didn't go for the pin, because he just allowed him to roll straight out the ring, which could have won him the match. But his cockiness soon became his downfall when Grayson hit his corkscrew senton and his flipping cutter to get him the win in the match. All in all, it was not anything bad. There were obviously great high points and its great moments, but it did not end being the match that I really would have been watching. So, in my opinion, not the best way to start off, but it was decent all in all. I would say that the one thing that would make it better was the thing that I was talking about earlier, which would be them attacking more. You know, a bit of chain wrestling, you know what I mean? You know, a few arm ringers here and there, maybe. Even a bear hug or something would have worked in their favor some way, somehow. But on to the next match, Contrassico versus Ghost. Now, the reason why I like this one more than the other ones in particular is because it does what usually happens in wrestling very well. You know, bigger competitor beats the smaller competitor. But it still shows off Contrassico's main components. You know, like his skill, his agility, and he does that very well. But it also still shows Ghost's domination and his strength. And it's good chemistry between the two. And it had a lot of its high moments, like Contrassico hitting his moonsault. Now that was a good spot. And also his Hurricanrana that he hit. But I'm pretty sure the most profound moment of the match was when he hit that kick off one trampoline to the other trampoline. Now that was a good moment. That really shows what Contrassico can do. But even then, it still wasn't good enough for Ghost's strength. As seen last time, he did defeat Nick Bo at the pay-per-view. So it didn't seem like Contrassico had a chance in the beginning to begin with, which I'm okay with. As long as he showed off his strengths and stuff like he did, I am okay with the match. And it did pretty well, in my opinion. So, with that, this is probably one of the best matches on the card. And though Contrassico tried his best, he still was no match for Ghost, as Ghost hit Insurrection after Contrassico missed one of his moves, and that was the end. Also, did I forget to mention that Contrassico hit a whole Hurricanrana on Ghost while he was on his knees? To have that type of agility, not even I can do. And I used to do backyard wrestling. Well, I still do, but sometimes. That's out of the point. That's probably my favorite part of the match, besides that kick. That kick was pretty cool, but I think the Hurricanrana wins it for me. Anyways, on to the third match on the card, Cody Cole versus Nathan Slade. Now, obviously these two young stars are feuding. They kind of were brought into the company at the same time, but the one difference between them is that Cody Cole now has a title, and Nathan Slade is still kind of feeling rock bottom, which with that title gives Cody Cole a bit more of a kick. But even with that, Nathan Slade was almost able to win the match. He took the silver bullet near the beginning of the match, but Cody Cole was smart enough to roll out the ring. And then he brought up a new move, the reverse DDT on Cody Cole, and it still didn't beat him. And then he tried to go for the silver bullet one more time, but he missed, and Cody Cole hit the Code of Cole and ended the match completely. Now, this was a good match. At its highs and its lows, there were still blanks in it, like there was in Grayson's match, but overall, it was still a good match, and it was pretty enjoyable. And I couldn't expect anything more from these two superstars since they're still getting started. But even then, they still put on a great match, and it was actually pretty sweet. I think this one was probably one of the best on the card, besides the next match we're going to get into, which is the last match on the card, Henry Mack versus Damian Kai. Now this match right here was a whole thrill ride. There was so much back and forth. It showed the advantages, and it showed the uniqueness, and it showed the best out of both Damian Kai and Henry Mack. Like it had a lot of everything I wanted to be in backyard wrestling. Like it had a lot of things that you would see in actual wrestling, like a lot of technical wrestling, like arm ringers, like kick up from Henry Mack was awesome, and it also showed the skill and it showed the strength of Damian Kai, and it also showed how fearless he was, knowing that Henry Mack is actually a former AWE World Champion. But even then, it wasn't enough to stop Henry Mack, who hit the Tennessee Lullaby, which came to me as a surprise. Nick Bowe's move, the Tennessee Lullaby, as the finish. And honestly, I couldn't ask for more. Now, the real question is, what is Nick Bowe gonna do about it? That's a very interesting question. Not only that, Henry Mack is still feuding with Grayson. So now he has not only one target on his back, but two. I wonder what they're going to do about it. But back to the match. The match was awesome. Damian Kai had a lot of good moments. Like his knee trigger to the face of Henry Mack, which could have put him away. And also that super kick like Enziguri move that he hit, which was also very good. But even then, Henry Mack hit another person's move and ended the match completely. And the fact that he actually hit it and it worked is actually pretty much an upset. Usually most of the times when you see somebody use somebody else's move, it doesn't work because like they didn't hit it right. But either way, it still got on the win. And honestly, this card was actually pretty good. I fairly liked all the matches that were there, and there was honestly, the only thing I saw wrong with it was the blanks that were in between most of the matches. Like if you're gonna do the match, you have to have the viewer like constantly seeing. But overall, it was a good card. Well, that's the end of the first ever episode of the Action Review. Make sure to tune in next week so that you can see the rest of what's coming, and you can see what's my opinion on everything that's happening. I am your host, the aficionado, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.